Hey you guys, this is your trigger warning for this video. It will briefly discuss SA and DV. If you need to, please skip. Hey you guys, it's Britt. Today we're here to talk about the Hulu miniseries that is airing currently, Pam and Tommy. I had some thoughts, so if you're interested, please keep watching. All right, you guys, so this Vanity Fair article came out and I sat on it for a few days because I really wanted to watch the current episodes of Pam and Tommy before I shared my opinion on this. Keep in mind, the series is not complete yet, but I'm halfway through it and I might do a part 2 if you guys are interested in this, see if my thoughts changed at all, but I don't think that they're going to change a whole lot because this general concept of doing this series but not having Pam Anderson be a part of the production or being a consultant for the story doesn't sit right with me. So I want to tell you guys a little bit about it, and then of course, as always, gather thoughts. So let's get started with my opinion about Pam Anderson. I love her, and I think that she's an absolute icon. I think that she is one of the products of Hollywood that actually came out with a lot of integrity. She has an amazing heart. I know that some people do have mixed feelings about her only because of her history with Playboy magazine and Hugh Hefner. Look, here's my thing with people that pose for magazines like Playboy and Penthouse or whatever it is. I don't care. If you feel comfortable doing that, then by all means, like, more power to you. Now, I think that people should, be paid, obviously. I have a huge issue with the Hugh Hefner and Marilyn Monroe picture. If you guys don't know the history of that, check it out. But if you're being paid for that and you're comfortable with it, please, like, more power to you, because I don't have the confidence to do anything like that. So either way, Pam is just a really good person deep down, and in the 90s, absolute icon. 2000s, absolute icon. Now, she's no longer living her life in the spotlight like she used to, but during her era of being in Hollywood, there's nothing else to say about the woman, but she was and is a living icon. I'll throw some photos here. Like, I'm just obsessed with her 90s look, her overline lips. Her makeup artist was Alexis Vogel, who also, oddly enough, did a lot of the makeup for the Playboy bunnies in the 90s. There's just so much nostalgia. I remember seeing posters or pictures of Pam as a young girl and thinking, wow, like, how is someone that beautiful? Like, how is someone that drop dead gorgeous? Now, Pam, just like a lot of other people around the world, had a very tough adolescent years, a situation that happened. And if you're not sure about that, please do your own research. But I think because of what happened to her as a young girl, it really carries over into why it feels like she's being exploited current day by this series being on Hulu. So far, my opinions on the series on Hulu is that I like Lily James. I think that the makeup and the wardrobe and just the style that they have her in is so 90s. It's so nostalgic, and I love it. This is not a Lily James issue. This is obviously production and people that were involved in creating the series. So I don't want it to come off like I don't like Lily James, because I think that she's very talented, and I think the wardrobe and makeup and styling for her role as Pam was spot on. She's so gorgeous in the role. So this article starts out and says, in the third episode of Hulu's Pam and Tommy, the new series revisiting Pamela Anderson's most traumatic public chapter, her stolen tape is being shopped around the adult film industry's seedy underworld by electrician turned thief Rand Gautier. Gautier is a real-life contractor who admitted that he stole a safe from Anderson and Tommy Lee's home in 1995 after Lee stiffed him for what Gautier said was $20,000 in home improvements. Gautier's decision to profit from the home movie found inside as payback to Lee amounts to what we now call revenge Pam. New York Times television critic James Panawozik points out, and I'm sorry if I'm butchering these names, through the person who suffered most was Anderson, not the man Rand is reportedly getting back at. And that's a completely valid point. When something like this happens, the woman typically is the one that is shamed. The woman is the one who is called a slut and a whore. And how could you do that? You're so gross. While the man is put on a pedestal and he's the cool guy. This has been going on for ages. So I can only imagine how hurtful this was to Pam. And when you consider her childhood, in with that, my heart breaks for her. There's no other way to say it. Gautier is played by series producer Seth Rogen in a montage scored to the funky uptown tempo of Spinning Wheel. The character in Nick Offerman's slimly adult film producer Milton Uncle Milty Ingley tried to peddle the looted property to a series of producer who won't touch the thing. That's accurate, according to the 2014 Rolling Stone article on which the series is based. Even Pam star, you guys know what I'm trying to say, Ron Jeremy passed on the movie, understanding that the tape was stolen and Anderson and Lee had not signed a release. When Jeremy, a man who was recently indicted by a grand jury on over 30 sexual charges involving 21 women, is providing your moral high ground, it might be time to reconsider the decisions that led you where you are. Jeremy has pleaded guilty to all counts and has denied the charges against him. In the series, Gautier is treated with understanding, even getting a childhood flashback sequence to a show that he suffered emotionally as a kid. Anderson, meanwhile, who is the title character of the series and who has publicly spoken about surviving at age 6, a RPE, when she was 12, and a gang RPE in 9th grade, is not afforded a similar amount of context. So that's what I was talking about, these traumatic things that Pam went through as an adolescent. You can imagine how these two issues would coexist and cause such a deep amount of trauma. So it's really sad. Pam and Tommy has been marketed as the greatest love story ever sold, but that too is an illusion. In reality, Anderson was also by Lee, who pleaded no contest to a felony charge of spousal battery in 1998 after allegedly assaulting Anderson while she was on the floor while she was holding their infant son. The abuse does not appear in the series aside from a mention in a single title card, so they're not even telling the whole story. Needless to say, Anderson is not listed in the credits of Pam and Tommy as producer or consultant. Executive producer and creator Robert Siegel and star Lily James, who plays Anderson, have both said they reached out to Anderson in the hopes that she would want to board the series. I wish it had been different, James told Porter, explaining that she had reached out to Anderson and held out hope until she started filming that she would hear from the actor. My sole intention was to take care of the story and to play Pamela authentically. It sucks. Obviously this is not something that she wanted to relive. So to have this series, come out It does. It sucks. And especially, they're not really telling both sides of the story, so there's a bias there. And even though I feel like the acting has been really good and I love Lily James playing Pam, I do feel like a big piece of it is missing. So that's why I have a reservation, like fully enjoying the series, if that makes sense. A friend of Anderson's tells Vanity Fair, though, that participating in the series, which was developed by Rogan and Evan Goldberg, was never a real consideration. She made a distinct decision, which took no time at all to make, to not be a part of this, a source told Entertainment Tonight. It is shocking that the series allowed this to happen without her approval. She feels so violated to this day. It brings back a very painful time for her. Last week, the blog The Mary Sue published a piece titled, "Maybe Hulu's Pam and Tommy isn't worth making if it re-traumatizes Pamela Anderson." As Richard Lawson notes in his Vanity Fair review of the series, Pam and Tommy is the latest entertainment project to revisit female celebrities of the 90s, including projects centering Marcia Clark, Monica Lewinsky, and Britney Spears. These films and documentaries reframe their stories and expose the misogynistic reactions the women endured from both the media and the general public. But unlike those other projects, two of FX's drama American Crime Story and a New York Times documentary, Pam and Tommy is billed as a comedy, a crime caper, and a love story, hybrid for the story about a woman that was the victim of a sex crime. According to the 2014 Rolling Stone article, Anderson and Lee ended up signing over their copyright to the video because, as Pam and Tommy shows, the stress of the legal aftermath was too much for Anderson, who was then pregnant with their son Dylan. I was thinking it was affecting the pregnancy with stress, and I said, I'm not going to court anymore, Anderson told Andy Cohen in 2015. I'm not being deposed anymore by these horny, weird lawyer men. I don't want to talk about my vagina anymore. The video, the Pam video, went out to make $77 million in sale in 12 months, according to Rolling Stone. Anderson has smiled through questions about the tape from people who have seen it. In that Cohen interview, for instance, the Watch What Happens live host tells Anderson that he was a big fan of the tape. And when Cohen asked her if she profited from the tape, she said, "I made not $1. It was stolen property." According to a friend of Anderson's, though the actor is horrified that the series was made, even if it tries to show Anderson's pain and the ways in which she was unfairly suffered the consequences of someone else's actions. So the article does go on a little bit more, but obviously this is something that's very painful for Pam Anderson. And, you know, I'm a little bit torn because I understand that this is a mini series that has some really talented actors in it, and there was obviously attention to detail and care put into what the final product will look like. But as much as I admire that, I also, my heart is crumbling for Pam Anderson that she's having to relive this horrific period of her life. So I really would like to know, what do you guys think about this? Do you have Hulu? Have you watched the series, the episodes that have come out already? Are you waiting for all of them to come out and then you're going to binge it? I know some people do that. Are you avoiding it altogether? Do you hate Pam Anderson? Do you hate Tommy Lee? Like, there's a lot of different topics that I could talk about as far as them as a couple. But I will leave that for another video. If you guys want a part 2, see if my thoughts change, let me know. Like I said, I think there are 3 more episodes that are going to air, so it's not going to be too much longer here until they're all out. But I will be interested to finish watching it. But simultaneously, I have a hard time truly enjoying it because I know that it is causing a lot of heartache for Pam, and I adore and respect her a lot. I think that she's an amazing person. I remember when I worked at MAC Cosmetics, she was in a Viva Glam campaign, and when the display came to the counter, I was just mesmerized by her Viva Glam photo shoot and her campaign photo. I've just always admired her. So either way, before I go on and on and on, that's going to be it for now. So if you like the video, please leave a like and a comment. And if you'd like to see more from me in the future, please subscribe. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.